It is 2024, 10 a.m. Saturday morning. Today I have a keyboard that might be an upgrade on my current setup. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Baby.
So they sent me this notification for this package coming in at 11. There ain't no sun out. I'm gonna film this in the morning. Let's go.
Conductor.
What's up, social media? My name is Dre Williams, and today I am here to talk about the NuPhy Field75 and give you a little bit of a comparison between it and my OG Keychron Q1 V1 modded by me 1 year ago. See how they stack up. For me to purchase a new keyboard, it had to be an upgrade in 4 different aspects. 1, it had to be aesthetically pleasing. 2, it had to sound good. 3, it had to support Mac and Windows switchability, which, yes, I know with most keyboards you can connect it to software where you can program the functions to do any Mac macros that you want, but I still wanted out of the box, ready to go Mac and Windows switchability. Plus, most importantly, I wanted the keys, or at least the sub-legends on the keys, to have some sort of Mac icons, which, again, there's not too many companies that seem to support Mac legends on their keys. So, and 4, it had to be wireless. And that, wait, wireless? Yes. As in having no wires? Mm-hmm. As in having a PhD in wirelessness? Yes, man, move. And that might be the main reason I was even on the hunt for an upgraded keyboard. I just didn't want any wires anymore, to be honest. So this is the NuPhy Field75. I got mine in the Gravity colorway, which is this white with purple. This keyboard is hot swappable. Inside it has a steel plate, pour-on plate, and IPXC switch pad combo. There's silicone in the cavity above the bottom case. It's got double shot PBT keycaps. It has a 125 Hz polling rate when going through Bluetooth, and it has an 1000 Hz polling rate when going through the USB-C connection or the provided USB dongle. The version that I had come with the Polaris switches. The good thing about their packaging is that they do send a couple of different switches for you to sample on your board, which is cool. It gives you a little bit of taste. Even though you might think there's a certain switch that you prefer, it's nice to at least have a taste of the different switches. You know, that's enough long talk about the keyboard itself. Let's get into a comparison as I figure out if this is truly an upgrade from my modded Keychron Q1. For some pros, the first one I will say is the presentation, the design, and the packaging that came with the Field75. The inclusion of the test switches, the color options for this keyboard. I just find that it's overall a more quality experience. Not to say that Keychron's was bad, they still include everything that you need and it's a solid experience, but having looked at both of their websites and just gone through the experience of unboxing the two, I do find that NuPhy had the better overall experience in terms of that. Another pro of this keyboard is the spacebar, and even with upgrading the Keychron Q1 V1, I was never able to get that good sound out of the spacebar. With NuPhy, they have included the spacebar, which is a ghost bar, which is their special technology for making things sound a little bit more dampened by having silicone inserts underneath the spacebar, and honestly, it does produce a very consistent, more thocky sound to it when I'm actually pressing on it, which is just so great. And the third main pro in comparison is it's wireless. It's wireless. I can move it around. I can go places. I can type far away. I can type close up. I can walk around. I can type on my lap. So much room for recreation. So much room for activities. And yeah, that's really the main thing for me. It's wireless. I can still get that mechanical typing experience, but then reduce the number of wires on my desk and just have a little bit more flexibility of placement, of typing experience. But yes, those are my pros. And with that, on to some cons, which you might actually find there are more cons to it than pros. My first con is that this keyboard is lacking modability. I was expecting the ability right off the bat to be able to take it apart and do whatever you want inside of the case. They don't really have a disassembly guide for this. I also haven't really seen anybody else talk too much about disassembling this or modding it, so take that as you will. And yeah, I guess branching off of that modability point, it seems like there is a lack of support from NuPhy themselves. When you look at the firmware upgrade site, there isn't really any entry for the Field75, which maybe that makes sense because they didn't have an upgrade, or they don't really need an upgrade for this. There isn't really much talk from NuPhy about this keyboard. You'll find some articles, of course, but it seems like this is much more of a limited experience and there isn't too much extra info to be found about the Field75 specifically. They do have the Field console, which allows you to customize this keyboard, the keys, the lighting, different things like that. And that app I did find was an interesting experience. I mean, it did the basic functions that it was meant to do, but I did run into some use cases that made it a little difficult to navigate. One little thing I had noticed is when you're trying to replace the functionality of certain keys. So in my case, I was trying to replace the functionality of the delete key and the print screen key. If you save the functionality of one key before switching it to the next key, then you won't be able to get the functionality of that key set, if that makes sense. So for example, I'm trying to switch the delete and the print screen key. If I make the delete print screen and then save, when I try and give the print screen the delete functionality, it thinks it is print screen. And because they only allow you the ability to touch the keys to set the actual values and not give you some sort of virtual keyboard to reference like they do on VIA, it makes it impossible to actually get the previous functionality. So you have to do it all without saving, and once you get used to it, maybe it is a much more easy experience to navigate. But from first user's perspective, that did confuse me because I was thinking, is it impossible to actually switch key functionality? Hopefully that example makes sense. And another smaller con that I found is it is hard to read the legends on these dark purple keycaps. Because they are dark purple or indigo, the contrast between the actual font color or the legend color and the keycaps, it's not easy to read, if I'm being honest. I think when you see it online, it's a lot more visible online in the photos than in person. It is kind of hard to read some of these keys. And yeah, that's some pros and cons, but I also want to get in a comparison speed round to examine some of the minutiae between the two. I'll hand out some points to each keyboard depending on the following criteria: packaging and experience, aesthetics and colorway, build quality, mobility, knob, ergonomics, responsiveness, modability, and of course, sound. So for packaging and experience, I'll give it to NuPhy. Just with what's in the box, the switch kit, the poster, the instruction manual just being a little bit more clear than Keychron's when I was first looking at it, I feel like they win there. Aesthetics and colorway. You either have your white, purple, and dark purple versus silver, dark blue, green, blue, something, green. Yeah, I think NuPhy probably wins there as well. Build quality. Now for this one, I will say that NuPhy does have a very nice build quality. Everything is solid, the weight is great, it looks good. It doesn't feel like something that is cheap or something that is less than $200, mind you. But Keychron just has that full metal body. It's very solid, and especially now that I've done the mods, its weight is incredible. So I will actually give this one to Keychron. It probably has the better build quality, and it's something that you could throw at a brick wall and probably is gonna last longer than the NuPhy. But I also wouldn't suggest throwing your keyboard at a brick wall, so you know. Mobility. This one is probably obvious because there is only one keyboard with true mobility in this competition, which is the NuPhy. Do I have to go over the whole wireless thing again? I mean, it's wireless and the Keychron isn't. I can go anywhere with the NuPhy within distance of whatever I'm typing on, and yeah, so that's an easy one. NuPhy wins in terms of mobility. And the knob, basically one of the main selling features that would have made me even choose getting one of these keyboards, which sounds so silly when I say that back, but you know, you try and have fun with whatever you can when you're doing stuff like this. But I do think that in terms of feel, that the NuPhy has the better feel. Also, with it being in the left hand, I can usually still keep my hand on my mouse. But in terms of function, the Keychron does have the better function. So I will say feel, NuPhy, function, Keychron. That's how it stacks up for the knob. Now for responsiveness, this one is an interesting one because both keyboards bring their own experience. Since Keychron is gasket mounted, it brings a little bit more sway and bounce to each key press. Whereas the NuPhy is just, it's straight down. You're not really moving too much. And maybe for someone who games, I'm not a gamer myself, you might prefer having something that doesn't have any sway to it because it feels like it's more responsive since it's like hitting a hard wall instead of hitting a sofa. So maybe responsiveness, NuPhy would win in that. That's subjective, but you know, that is the difference between the two. One rocks and sways and is very bouncy. The other one, it's staying right where it is. For the ergonomics, the NuPhy is the winner of that, and I say that because it comes with adjustable feet. The Keychron is at a fixed height. I actually have experimented with the feet up and down, and it does give you a little bit more option if you ever need to rest or change your arm position. So in terms of ergonomics, I will say the NuPhy wins. Modability, I already touched on this a little bit. It seems like the NuPhy is a little bit limited, or actually a lot of bit limited in its ability to be modded. Yeah, the Keychron wins because it is able to be disassembled. It has VIA software, which you can get a lot more custom fine-tuning of the keyboard's functions. And yeah, so Keychron, you won that round. And last but not least, like I said, the sound. It's all subjective. There's no right sound, there's no wrong sound. In this case, I happen to like the NuPhy sound more just because it has a little bit more clickety-clack to it, if that makes sense. Both of them sound great, but also NuPhy includes the ghost bar, and that is basically the most pressed key. You're always going to be pressing your space bar. It's too bad I can't replicate this experience with the Keychron to truly know, but with that being the case, I'd say that sound is dominated by NuPhy, which is great. That kind of wraps it all up to be the best experience. But let's also hear a sound test. Now there's a little typing test for you. Now I guess to conclude, don't be too swayed with the fact that I have a decent list of cons to say for this NuPhy Field75. See, now that I'm a little bit more, can't say seasoned, but I guess used to mechanical keyboards and what to look for, I'm able to pick apart the things that I don't like about this right off the bat. This keyboard is still awesome, okay? And it works out. I got it from a local store, Keybay in Toronto. The shipping was free. It was on sale. It was the last one. So the circumstances worked out for this to be a great opportunity for me to upgrade the keyboard. And I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the purchase. I think it's going to be a quality keyboard moving forward. And I'm sorry to say to the Keychron Q1, but this is my new main thing. This is the new tool. This is the main one. This is what we going with. So if you enjoyed this video, this comparison, I hope it's concise or at least provides some extra details on the NuPhy Field75 for any of you out there looking for more info on it. Dre Williams, back at it for a little keyboard video. Drop a like, drop some love in the comments, drop a follow on my MySpace page. It's all appreciated. As for now, this has been Dre Williams, and remember, breathe manually. I'm out here eating some food. Oh, are you still recording? This is a test of the microphone. So, how do you like keyboards or no?
No.
No. Dude, okay.